Cheers in the ambience. I got a ring to think then again. I'm such a winner, I'll win again. Some think I'm a Viking or maybe a wizard. I feel like I'm both when I'm in the ring. Victory brings serenity. I give them a three-piece, that's for the three-peat. And then I leave with the trinity. True baller got all the amenities. All the others just wanna be mini-me's. Haters mad when they hear my...
What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's special live Tuesday, 2:22 p.m. I'm excited to be able to, today is going to be a little bit of a different type of live deal film review analysis than we've ever done. We get asked all the time, like I get watching RJ talk to sellers, but I'd like to be able to see what he's doing on his screen. How is he analyzing the deal? So last week during acquisitions week, I had a call on Friday. It was a difficult call, to say the least. First of all, the seller was kind of difficult to understand, which we're going to have to deal with that on today's review. Okay. He was difficult to understand. There were some audio issues. He was kind of in a part of California. Cell reception wasn't great. A little bit difficult to comp as well. So the underwriting part of this was a little bit difficult. So I want to show you guys from my vantage point what I was looking at when I was underwriting the deal and how I was able to navigate the conversation. What was I thinking when I was doing this? What was I seeing on the analysis side, and how it inevitably led to us getting a signed contract. It's about a 23-minute seller call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the seller call and then shift from the call to showing my screen and what I was looking at when I was underwriting the deal, and then kind of give an analysis also on what I was thinking and why I was asking the questions that I was asking. So this way you guys could get a full overview of the closer's formula and the actions that I was taking throughout the call. So I'm open for questions. If you guys have any questions, just drop it in the chat and I'll answer them as I go along. So let's go ahead. I know this kind of looks like the exact same thing. Come to find out, I always wear the same hat, and apparently I only wear black titanium shirts. So it looks like it's the exact same, but that's me on Friday, okay? You can always tell just because the little beard hairs are a little bit different, all right? So let's get started with the call on Friday. Hi, William. This is RJ Bates. I was calling about your property there on Elk Trail West. Looked like you had filled out a form on my website saying that you were interested in selling that property. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. How much were you looking to get for it?
You're there.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
How much were you looking to get for the property?
I've been offered $350,000 for it.
Okay. But you didn't accept it?
No, you're the first person I called about it.
Okay. So at this point, I'm a little bit skeptical about everything that's going on. I'm confused. You know, how much are you looking to get for the property? It takes a while for an answer. Sounds like there might have been a little bit of cell reception issue. Hearing it back on the replay. So maybe he gave a little bit more detail. I didn't pick that up in the initial conversation. So then he says, I was offered $350,000. So I always ask the question, well, if you were offered $350,000, yet I'm asking you how much you want for the property, why didn't you accept the $350,000? Does that mean your number is $375,000? Like, I've always been confused when they say, well, I was offered this much. how much do you want for the property? So even when they get that number, I want to find out what is the number that they want for the property. And then also, if you've been offered $350,000, why did you not accept it? So I'm confused. You said someone offered you $350,000, but I'm the first person you talked to?
Yeah, I just sort of messages with, and they just sent a message. They 350 or 375,000 for house. But no question of that. It's right as is. And blah, blah.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about the property. What's going on there? So normally in this circumstance, when we say, do you want to sell? Yes. How much do you want for the property? 350,000. We kind of want to ask an open-ended question, not as specific where we say, tell me a little bit about what you got going on, right? That's like my go-to line. Here, I steered him down a specific path. I said, well, tell me a little bit about the property. The reason why is because so far with the open-ended questions that I've asked, it's just I'm not really liking how he is answering. So I kind of want to steer him down a path to make it simple for him. And so this is more of a gut instinct move on my part where I say, tell me about the property, because that should be easy for the seller to talk about. So that's why I asked at this point. More often than not, I do not agree with saying, tell me specifically about the property. But I wanted to make this simple to get him to just open up and talk about something that he knows, which is the house itself.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 house, single story. It's on the hillside. The property is 5.87 acres. And I own part of Dry Creek. It's called Dry Creek because in the summertime it's dry. In the wintertime it's a river.
Okay. All right. So what's the first thing that we do at this point? So now I'm sharing my screen. This is what it would look like when I'm analyzing the deal. I'm going to take the address, which is right here, Elk Trail West in Redding, California. I would like to look at Google Street View. When I go to Google Street View of this property, you see I cannot drop my little guy. I do not have a Google Street View. Okay. So I have to abandon ship on this. Okay. So what's the next thing that we're going to do? We're going to drop the address into PropStream. I'm going to drop it into Privy, and I'm going to get it pulled up to see what are the comps. What are the values in the area? So on Privy, I see I've got 325, 270, 355, 525, 665, 420. And then on PropStream, I've got 525 and 325. Okay. So all I'm wanting to know at this point is the asking price of $350,000. Is there even a remote possibility that is discounted enough for this to be a wholesale deal? So based off of this, there is a comp on PropStream for 525, and there is a comp on Privy, or two comps on Privy, 525, 665. That could make this a wholesale deal. All right. So I still have not determined what bucket to put the seller in yet, but I do know it's at least worth continuing the conversation. And now I really need to understand the condition and realistically the motivation that he has to sell. Okay. So that's where I'm probably going to steer my conversation and my questions moving forward. Does it need any work, or is it in good condition? What's going on with it?
In good condition. There's just a couple of small things that just need to be fixed, but it's not no big deal. I just had an inspector came through and inspected it a while back on another loan thing I was talking to, and he said the house passed all the inspections. I just had solar panels and all that stuff put on the roof. So there's solar power too. There's 2 wells on the property. The first well they dug only got like 3 gallons a minute. They dug another well down lower on the property, and they get 50 gallons a minute, which is really good for out here. It's not called Dry Creek and up in Texas.
So I've brought this up before, and I'll say it again. Typical man answer, right? Tell me about the property. Does it need any work? They want to talk about wells and how much water you get per minute and, you know, the condition, and there was an inspector and it passed all these things. Realistically, from an investor standpoint, what we need to know is like, hey, is it pretty enough to sell? Like, does it have a remodel kitchen? Does it have a remodel bathroom? When was the last time you replaced the floors and the paint? I'm not getting those answers. That's pretty typical when you talk to a man. When you talk to a woman, it's more than likely you're going to get the more detailed answers about the condition of the property that we really need. So again, you can almost see it in my facial expression here. I'm kind of laughing, where it's like I'm finding out how much water we can get per hour. I mean, it doesn't really move the needle for us on the underwriting. And as you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at PropStream and Privy. That's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna ask a couple more questions, then I'll bring up my screen and show what I'm looking like or what I'm looking at on the underwriting side. But I'm just trying to get an idea. All I know right now is according to the seller, the property is in pretty good condition.
And then I'm also connected to the Jones Valley Water District to get water from Shasta Lake.
Okay. The solar panels, are those paid off, or is that another lien on the property?
No, they just installed it. I haven't paid anything.
Okay. But that would come out of the 350.
I have no idea how much they're going to charge me for it. They just came out and installed everything for free, and I get free for 6 months, and then they'll start sending me bills, I guess.
So this is a huge concern. Now that we have this property under contract, the seller essentially is saying, I had solar panels installed. He has no idea how they're getting paid for. And listen, this is one of those things where, as a virtual wholesaler, I'm not going to kill the deal without gathering the information once I'm under contract. So in this case, this could be a deal killer. Like, we could owe, $30,000 for these solar panels. The way he explains it here makes it seem like this is more of a location thing, and they're kind of do it for energy reasons. I'm hoping that's the case so it doesn't kill the deal. But this is a concern moving forward on how much do we have to pay for these solar panels.
Just got my PG&E power. My kids were staying here for a little while. I ran my electric bill up to $595 for 1 month. When I put the solar panels on, the next PG&E bill I got was only $14.36.
Oh, that's good. So why are you looking to sell?
My wife passed away, and she left me in all kinds of credit card debt, and I got a lot of bills to catch up on. I lost a bunch of money when my wife died.
I'm sorry to hear about that. So in this scenario, I sometimes joke about, hey, man, just flat out ask why they want to sell. In this scenario, I didn't really know how else to get this guy to open up. So that's why I went with it. Just, why do you want to sell the property? And it was well received. He comes out and he gives us the exact answer that we need to know. His wife passed away and left him with a ton of credit card debt that he didn't know about. So now when I start looking at this, from the 4 seller buckets, I now have identified that he definitely is highly motivated. Now we need to figure out price. The 2 most important things, price and motivation. We understand that he's highly motivated. Now we need to figure out if it's the right price or the wrong price.
I don't need to be living in this 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with just me and myself.
All right. So the guy that offered you $350, you just haven't called him back to tell him yes or no?
No, I didn't respond to it. They just sent me a text message now for definite. I got another paper here somewhere that they offered me more.
See, now how you hear people talk about third-party stories to build rapport. I like, anytime there's a third party involved, I like to ask questions surrounding that third party, because now it disconnects me from the emotion of what's happening. So I want to know, where is he mentally at with this $350,000 offer? Where did that offer come from? Did they want the property? Have they seen it? Also, this is giving me a pretty good idea if they're an end buyer or another wholesaler, what their deal analysis was. What was their underwriting on the deal? So at this point, I'm just kind of exploring to see if I could get, based off of this being a third party involved, if I can get more information out of them in regards to that offer, and also mentally, where is he in regards to that offer?
I get so much junk all over the table in there.
Okay.
There was another one that they sent me. I don't know what I did with it now, but they offered $300,000 cash.
All right. Let's see what we can do here. Seems like a pretty nice property. How long have you owned it? All right. So let's bring up, why am I saying it seems like a pretty nice property? So I've got my comps pulled up here. What's the first thing that I'm going to go to? I'm going to go to this 525. And on Privy, I have 2 pictures. So when I was on Google Street View, I could see right below here, Zillow. I see a nice little picture of the property. So I open it up on Zillow. Bam. Look at that. That is our subject property. Okay. Now I only have 5 pictures, but that picture right there makes it seem like we're dealing with a pretty nice little house. Okay. We've got a picture of the inside. Seems nice. A little bit of an older tile countertop, but ultimately not overly distressed. Same thing. Tile countertops. Kind of older white appliances, but still, like, this is better than what I was thinking it is. Now I've got a pretty decent idea of what I'm looking at here. Especially, I love this picture right here. This gave me a really good look at what the property looks like. Okay. So what do? I'm going to go over here to Privy. I'm going to go to my 520. I'm going to search that. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to see. This is what just sold for 525. All right. Can our property be anywhere close in resemblance to this property? So I'm taking a look at it. I mean, we've got granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. It's got a view. I noticed this. This is a point of concern. This is a remodel property. It's in really good condition. It looks great, right? It's definitely nicer than our property. But the one thing I don't know that we could rehab into our property to achieve the after repair value is this view. All the other little fixings, I mean, we can do that. At least get remotely close to at least have a baseline to understand what our after repair value is. So having this comp available for me and to be able to see these pictures was amazing. So that's where when I say, hey, it looks like you got a pretty nice little property, I'm actually wanting to talk to him about the area and get an understanding of, is his property comparable to this?
Here in 2010.
You said 2010?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we moved into this house in 2010.
Gotcha. So the pictures that I was looking at on Zillow were from that listing in it was actually December of 2009. So he literally moved in January of 2010.
And then my wife just passed away last December. And she also had me like almost $50,000 in credit cards that I didn't know about.
Jeez.
I'm just trying to keep my head above water again. If I have to sell the house and, buy my own travel trailer and just take off and went on.
Gotcha. So one of the things I want you guys to pay attention to here is these moments of what some might consider awkward silence, where like when he's saying things like, my wife passed away last December. She left me with $50,000 credit card debt. And then I kind of allow him to stop. There's a cadence that I have where it's almost like 1 second, 2 second, 3 second before I respond, because I never want to over talk the seller, especially during the early phases of the conversation. We want to make sure that he has fully completed whatever information he's divulging to us at that point. So kind of pay attention to that throughout, especially early on. Later on in the conversation, I'll probably get a little bit more aggressive with my message. But right now, I have no message. I'm just gathering information. So is there anything that, as an investor, I'm going to come in that I need to fix up on this property that's like just not working, not functional, or anything like that?
No, everything works just fine. And everything problems.
Okay.
And have central air and heat. And in my house, a wood stove and a living. It's a good stove and installed right. It's all correct. Bullshit for make it legal. So in the winter time, it's heated with a wood stove or the heat pump. And in the summertime, I very seldom, if I let the house cool down in the morning, I very seldom have to turn the AC on.
All right. Let's see. 1,600 square feet. The other thing I want you guys to take notice of is, as I'm watching this on replay, because I haven't watched it, I just did this live on Friday. This is the first time I'm actually watching the replay. This is a really good example of positioning yourself inside of the call as the buyer. I mean, I'm watching my body language, my response to some of his, responses or his answers. I mean, I am coming across as a very serious buyer. I mean, sometimes he says things and there's essentially no emotional response from me. One, I don't think that he requires that as a seller. And two, at this point, I have determined that the seller bucket that he falls in is highly motivated, wrong price. Okay, I'm now determined that I need to get him down a little bit on price. So let's Let's see why I say that. So I bring up my profit calculator. Let's just say $525,000 is the after repair value. Okay. Now, when we come over here, Elk Trail, 1,621 square feet. He says the property's in good condition. Everything is working. Let's assume we still need $40,000 in work. Okay. The seller is asking $350,000. Okay. This is what I'm seeing. If I get the highest after repair value that I'm seeing right now, I still don't love these numbers. Okay. Because one, I think I'm pressing the ARV too much. I'm not discounted off of the highest sold property. And I'm only allocating $40,000 in repairs for something that's been lived in for 14 years. And I can already tell that it does need remodels from where the house sat 14 years ago. So for me, I'm already anticipating that even though I don't have a ton of information to validate this, I need to be more discounted on my after repair value, and I need to be more aggressive on my repairs. So I'm going to need some wiggle room off of that contract price. That is where I'm sitting right now. Property values are kind of all over the place around you.
Yeah. There's some nice homes and some not so nice homes.
We call them comp parties around here. Who's the best person to have a comp party with? The seller. Who knows more about that market than us? The seller. Who's a great person to ask questions about the area, the neighborhood, particular houses? The seller. So let's have a comp party. I'm assuming your house is considered one of the nicer homes, right?
Yeah, well, so I can a fire.
Sorry, your phone broke up there a little bit. What was that?
There's other houses around me that are real nice houses, and there's a few that are just like old mobile homes.
How does your house compare to the nicer homes?
I'm not sure because I've never been inside of any of the nicer homes. But they just up on the top of the ridge above me. There's some houses up there. They're probably a little bit nicer than this one. We got better views is all. But they're on the top of the mountain in the town all the time.
Gotcha. Is that something that drives the property values up, being up higher?
Maybe just because of the views. I mean, the view looking west on off my deck, I can see Shasta, and I see for miles. I got a good view from the beautiful sunset in the evening.
Critical moment in this conversation with the seller. I asked him, well, he's talking about these nicer houses up above him. Okay. He says they have beautiful views. I asked, does that increase the value? He doesn't really know how to answer, so he kind of stumbles around. But then he says, well, I have a beautiful view off of the back of my balcony. It looks west. I have a beautiful sunset, and I can see for miles. So, coming back to my comps, when I was on this one, what was the concern that I had? When I looked at these pictures, what could I see? I could see for miles, right there. This is my biggest concern with using this as a comp. But now, I mean, right here, you can see beautiful views, okay? Now I know our subject property has a beautiful view, and on top of that, it's to the sunset off of the back balcony. That's a great selling point of this property. So I feel a little bit better about my after repair value. I feel like we could be closer to that 525 than what I initially thought.
Yeah. Right now it's all smoky because of the forest fire. Away. The wind's blowing all the smokes out. My house is on private. Probably only 5 or 6 miles to Chef today.
Okay. So taking a look around the neighborhood and the condition of some of the properties that have sold for a little bit more, like you said, I think the view impacts the value there a little bit. So I kind of want to be a little bit conservative from my side. I don't think I can get to 350. I think I need to be closer to like 320. But that would be cash, and then there would be no realtor commissions, and we would cover the closing costs. Okay, so it's important that you understand how that was delivered right. I kind of gave the explanation as to why it was going to be lower, and then delivered the number and then added benefits to the end there. I want to go back to my comps here real quick. One of the things that I notice here, well, hold on. There's comps. What's happening here? Oh, I didn't do my settings. So one of the things that I noticed, well, I might have to go further out. Where's my 525? 525. Oh, I'm on the wrong damn property. Ha! There's my comps. User error. All right. So here we go. When I'm looking at my comps here, remember we have 6 acres, so 253,000 square feet of land. Also, were built in 2009. Okay. So when we're looking at some of these comps, some of these got eliminated pretty easily. 67 build, 75 build, 87 build. This is what got me down to, okay, we've got a lot of land, newer build, newer build, newer build. This is where it was easy for me to go, all right, we could actually seriously consider this 525 comp, because the year built and the lot size, the fact that we're getting that 6 acres in comparison to some of these older builds and smaller lots, okay? So that's kind of a net number to you.
Yeah. And find out these people. Somebody else offered me cash for something.
You said somebody else offered you cash?
Yeah, that first one, but I never really got him on the phone and talked to him.
Right.
I just kind of ignored that one. But it was like around the same as what I told you. When they offered it.
One of the things that I always get a gut feel immediately upon me making an offer in this scenario, especially when the seller is wrong price, highly motivated. Now we're only $30,000 off here, so this isn't a huge difference. However, it's $30,000 less than an offer that he had received. So he never really gave us his asking price. This is based off of another offer. So in that circumstance, $30,000 is a lot because someone else had already offered him that. So I always want to see how they respond to that. If it's an immediate objection to it, then you're going to have to do quite a bit of education pretty quickly before you completely lose the call. This response right here was a golden response because he didn't really object to my offer whatsoever. And realistically, you got to just move the conversation along as if like he's just thinking about it at this point. To me, this was a great response. And I am at this point fairly confident that I'm going to be able to close the deal.
Like 375 or something like that.
Right. And that was through a text message.
me a text message.
No, I'm saying those people, they made that offer through a text message to you?
No, it was something that came in. I probably threw it away.
Gotcha. Understood. You know what's not understood during this entire call is about half of the stuff the seller says. So I cannot express to you guys how difficult this was for me to understand what he was saying. Now, I know some of y'all might have watched it live, but you're hearing it right now. It might be hard for you guys to hear. Sometimes y'all are like, man, RJ, fix the audio. I cannot fix the seller's phones. I mean, this was just as hard for me to hear live as it is for me to hear on the replay. So I actually am enjoying this because I hear what you guys hear. It was just as bad for me. This is exactly what it sounded like. So this was an extremely difficult call across the board because I'm almost like guessing what he's saying at times. And I think sometimes we'll get lost in that and make that like a part of the too much of the conversation. I just need to understand bits and pieces of what he's telling. I don't need to understand everything that he's saying. And so I think you can see right now how calm I am throughout the call. I've really slowed the whole process down, right? I'm not rushing anything. At any point in time, do you guys feel like I have rushed during this call? Absolutely not. However, we're 11 minutes and 30 seconds into this call, and we've already basically done the full deal analysis and made our offer. Despite the comping issues, despite the communication issues, I still was able to gather enough information to get to this point in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. And because of that, I've already made my offer and gotten a fairly decent response. And I would say at this point, 90% confident that I'm going to be able to close the deal. So I think there's a lot to take away from, hey, just relax yourself. Relax, get in the pocket, and just ask the necessary questions. Don't freak out if you don't understand something. Just literally say it like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? And just keep doing your job, even if it's highly difficult to underwrite and comp.
I did all kinds of
This is Lead Zolo.
I just kind of quick scan through it, throw away anything I'm not interested in.
So, I mean, as far as like what's most important to you? I mean, is it to get as much money as possible, to make it a smooth transaction? I mean, what are you trying? What's the most important thing to you?
To get a fair price on the house, so that I can put some money in the bank, pay off some of the credit card stuff, and just get my bank account straightened out. Because right now, I don't have an income to take care of all the bills I get.
Well, what are your thoughts about that $320,000 offer?
Doesn't sound too bad. That would probably get me out of debt.
Would you have money left over to be able to kind of survive off of?
Probably not. I'm 70 years old. I'm not up to date on all this new stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to pressure you or anything like that. I mean, what do you want to do as far as the decision-making process with that offer?
Well, I'm just looking to get out from all the payments I got to make on the house. Right now, my monthly house payments over $1,800 a month. I don't have enough money left over for groceries or nothing. I took it, like I said, I lost half of my income when my wife passed away.
So this is a critical moment in the conversation because we've now made the offer, and now we're finding out that the financial distress that this seller has is at a much more severe level than what we initially anticipated. I mean, he talked about the credit card debt that his deceased wife had left him. However, we're now finding out that the monthly mortgage payment is a problem for him. Being able to be able to get groceries is a problem for him. Shout out to the election next month. I'm pretty sure grocery prices are a problem for everybody. Vote accordingly. But that being said, I mean, this is a huge issue for him. Whereas at the beginning, it almost kind of felt like he wanted to get as much money as possible. Now it's starting to feel like, dude, we're kind of hitting some desperation times. And so how do we get to this point? By continuing to ask questions that dig deeper, right? What is your decision-making process? What is the most important thing to you in this close? Is it to get as much money as possible, or is it for convenience, or is it for speed? Okay. Now, another thing that I want to bring back up here is my profit calculator. And how did we get to $320,000? Okay. Now, assuming that the repairs don't shift too much, I want to discount the ARV. So if I go to 475, if I look at this and I say, all right, if I'm an investor and I see that I have a comp at 525, but if I were to say 475 is what I can list this, right? We are discounted from the most expensive property that is sold in the area, 525, okay? In order to achieve 475, do we need all 40 grand? We might only need 30 grand. We're toggling the numbers here to figure out, where does this make the most sense? Maybe we say 500,000. Maybe that requires 35,000. Who would not be willing to do $35,000 worth of work to make $70,000 of profit? There are multiple different ways where this could work. We're not really going to know until we kind of get pictures of the interior. What I'm seeing is that we are getting this at a significantly discounted price in comparison to everything that is sold and what could be achievable, especially after we found the information out about the view and it being on Sunset and in the west. That, to me, is what led me to believe we could get fairly close to this $500,000 ARV. If we can get this at 320 based off the condition that I saw it was in 14 years ago, this property is not in bad condition. He just said it passed an inspection, so we know that we're not going to have any systems that need to be replaced. I'm feeling pretty confident. Now it's just about understanding his actual motivation and making sure we can close the deal.
I've been retired for 10 years now.
Well, I mean, if speed is something that you're looking for there, I mean, we could probably get this done in the next 30 days. So have you already made your mortgage payment for October?
Yeah.
If you were to move forward with this, you probably wouldn't have to make another mortgage payment.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not the number that you necessarily were asking for, and I'll just be honest with you. Normally, I don't try to beat people up, but I also have to run my business and make sure I'm protecting myself, you know?
Okay, give me 550,000.
So what's funny about that moment is I laughed because he laughed. I still don't know what he said. I have absolutely no idea. When I say I'm struggling hearing the audio, I'm still struggling to understand some of the audio. But again, I am just kind of staying the path and steering the direction of the conversation where I think we need to go to get the result that I think we need, which is I want to get this property under contract for $320,000, and I want to make sure that that's putting him in a good position. He already told us it's going to pay off his debt. It's not going to put a ton of money in his property. However, I'm just not getting lost in the weeds here. That's the critical part of this. Sometimes I think people are like, there was no Google Street View, and I couldn't find any comps of the exact year built and the same square footage of the lot, and I couldn't understand the seller. And it's like, dude, I get it. This is me living in that moment all at once right here. No idea what he just said, but he's laughing, so I'm going to laugh. I think he said to give me 600,000 or something like that. However, it's just we're just going to keep moving. I think I'm going to follow this up with some question about, well, where are you at on making a decision? Yeah, I mean, I think 320 is the number that I need. And I think we can get this done relatively quickly for you. So, I mean, you let me know, how would you like to proceed? Would you like to think about that? You ready to move forward, or what's kind of your thought process there?
Well, I still can't find the one piece of paper that could offer more. The 320 would be hopefully enough to get me caught up on all my debt that I'm behind on.
So when he says he's trying to find a piece of paper, I didn't understand what he meant by that until later on. So I'll just go ahead and fill you guys in. This piece of paper that he's trying to find is a piece of direct mail from another investor that just made him an offer for, I think, $375,000. So he's walking around his house right now trying to find a piece of mail that came in months ago that was just a blind offer. It cracks me up. Again, that was irrelevant to me. But I also think on his side, he's trying to mentally make a decision on what he wants to do here. So he just keeps blaming on the fact that he can't find this piece of paper.
I don't have to make the house payments. If I sell the house, and of course I have to have some money to make to move.
Right. Well, why don't we do this to make it easy for you? I've got your email here, I think. Is it? So at this point, I'm gathering his contact information. I'm going to send him the contract because I want him to be able to see that this is legitimate, because he keeps bringing up that piece of paper. To me, that means that's very important to him. Okay. So why don't I just go ahead? I'll write up a contract for the 320. I'll send it over to you so you can look over it. You can see what we're actually offering you. It'll show you that we're offering $320,000 cash. We cover the closing costs. There's no realtor commissions or anything like that. And I'll give you a couple of days to decide if you want to sign that or not. And that way you're making the best decision for yourself. And, there's just, I like I said, I don't want to apply any pressure. I want you to make the best decision for you. So,
if you offer me $320,000, then I have to take a check from you or something and deposit it, and then I have to pay off the rest of the house. Correct.
So this is another critical moment in this close and any close at this point. All right. This is the moment where the seller's immaturity with real estate shows. Majority of people are only going to sell 1 to 2 deals ever in their lifetime, maybe 3. Okay. He doesn't know how the process works. He's wondering, I'm going to give him he thinks I'm giving him a check for $320,000, and it's his responsibility to then pay off the mortgage. So this is a massive opportunity for anybody when they're at this point in time in the close, because who is the best person to answer this question and make them realize you're the expert? You are. This is your opportunity to be the real estate expert and let them know exactly how this is going to go down and how realistically it has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with us. There's an unbiased third party that's going to take care of everything. It's such a great answer because You're not selling yourself. You're selling the process of a real estate transaction at this point. You're explaining to them that you understand how this goes down, and it builds trust and credibility, which is the most important thing that you could do when you talk about building rapport. So it goes through a title company. So you actually don't have to do anything. We actually would just send that contract to the title company. They would pull a title commitment. Once that comes back and they say, okay, here's what's owed, the mortgage, taxes, all of this. And then we would sign closing documents. You would sign closing documents. The money would be wired to the title company. The title company would pay off any liens like the mortgage, taxes, all of that, and then write you a check for the difference. So it's actually, you don't have to do anything besides just show up to the title company, sign documents, and then you get your money.
And then I had to get out of the house pretty quick then.
Yeah, we would need you out pretty quickly. But we can also close whenever you need. So if you need time to prepare for a closing, then we can just make the closing further out. We don't need to make it in 30 days, but I'd like to, because it sounds like you need to make that to avoid having to make another mortgage payment. What is that question right there? Steering the conversation back around and asking for validation on, do I truly understand your pain and motivation? Because I thought we just had a conversation based around you not wanting to make another mortgage payment. However, now you're saying you might need time. So this is where it's kind of I just need to fully understand what's most important to you to make sure I fully understand your pain and motivation.
Right.
So if we need to put it out, we can. If we need to do something where we give you like 4 or 5 days after closing to get out because you need the money, we can also do that as well.
I mean, this house is just full of junk from my wife. There's a lot of stuff here.
Right. So do you think the 30 days would give you enough time to get packed up and get ready to move?
If I can get my son to come out and help me, yeah.
Okay.
Or I can just sell out and leave all the furniture with it.
Yeah. If you do that, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna need to take a little bit of money off because listen, getting rid of stuff is costly. Dumpsters, movers, stuff like that. So we could do that. It's just then you get less money.
Right. No, I don't want to do that. You just have to rent a storage station. We're all in the storage station.
Yeah. So is the deal closed or is it not closed? Because it sure sounds like he's going with us. He hasn't officially said yes. I just don't think that's his personality. I mean, at this point in time, he's already mentally processing how is this process going to work on his side, right? Moving, how long does he need? And as soon as I brought up, well, you could leave all of your belongings, but that's going to cost you money. I don't want to do that. That to me was like, that was the first indication that, yeah, this is a done deal.
Yeah, come on. Or can out here. Or just give it away.
Right. Well, what do you think, William? You want me to write up that contract, send it over to you?
Sure.
All right. So what I will do is I'll write that up. I'll get it over to you. I'll have my someone on my team write that up and get it sent over to you probably here in the next 10, 15 minutes. Like I said, take your time. I don't want you to jump into something that you're not sure you want to do. So just feel free to call me back if you have any questions. This is the office number. My name's RJ Bates. And yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to call. But if you're ready to sign, you can actually just sign the contract right there inside of the email. Okay. Sorry, you broke up there. What was that you said?
Contact number
is 817-710-8689.
send me a text message, correct?
What's that?
And you said you send me text message. Also,
This is a funny moment. I had asked him early on if someone had offered him the $350,000 through text message, and somehow it stuck with him that I wanted to send him a text message. And so now, even later on in the conversation, I mean, it's probably a good 15 minutes later in the conversation, he wants to know if I'm going to send him a text message. I thought that was pretty adorable. I almost wonder if he thought that was the way that the offer was supposed to come, was through text message, because that's how he received one previously. I can send you a text message because this is a landline that I called you from. This is the office number, but I can send you a text message from my cell phone if you want me to.
no, you're just going to send something.
Yeah, I'm just going to send you the contract to your email. And if you have any questions, you could call this number back, or you can just email with any questions that you have. But it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a 2-page contract. It really doesn't say a whole lot other than I'm buying your house for this much and when we're going to close, and that we're covering the closing costs, just like what we discussed.
So you got any money in the bank? You can't think it's all.
Sorry, your phone's breaking up again.
I don't have internet here, so it's phone break up once in a while.
Yeah. What was that you said right before the phone broke up?
I just put this in my bank account right now. I need to know it's money on top of the bank because I'm like negative $800.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we got to get this. Done, William. Yeah, let me get this over to you, man. Let's get the process started. Because I don't. Yeah, I mean, we can get this done pretty quickly, and then that way, you can get some money in your bank account. Negative $800 is no bueno.
Okay.
All right, William, I'm going to get this sent over to you. Check your email here in about 20 minutes, and let me know if you have any questions, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So there's the from front to back, one dial. He signs the contract about 45 minutes later. I was a little bit irritated because I was live during this. He literally signed the contract 1 minute after I ended my live video. I almost wonder if he went and looked me up on YouTube and was watching, and then decided to sign the contract. However, that was, you now could see my body language, my reactions, my questions that I asked, as well as what I was doing on my computer. People get wrapped up and they get lost into, I can't comp and underwrite while talking to a seller. I can't close a deal without comping and underwriting. In my opinion, if you want to be a top-notch closer in this industry, you have to be able to do what I just did right there. You need to be able to look up Google Street View, put in your comping software, go to Zillow, have your profit calculator up, run those numbers, underwrite the deal, know exactly where you're coming from, be calm, cool, collected throughout. Don't rush. Slow down the process throughout, and you'll be fine. I don't think that there was anything that I did right there on that call that I don't think any of you guys could do. I think anybody could do what I just did. I think it's about, are you going to learn the skill set to be able to do that? And are you going to be willing to put in the reps to be able to do that over and over and over again without feeling the pressure and without becoming overwhelmed during that moment? So, with that being said, this is a new style of us doing the film review, showing what I'm working on my screen. I'm curious to ask you guys, did y'all enjoy this? Did you enjoy the different angle here? Seeing what I'm working on, what tabs I have open, and seeing how I'm navigating the comping and underwriting. If you did, make sure to leave me a comment. Give us a like for this. Shout out to my team for coming up with this idea for this video today. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you tomorrow.